anything like that. I had no idea an 850-pound motorcycle could be maneuvered so easily. And I started calling all around the country trying to find out how I could get motor officer training, and it wasn't available unless you're actually sponsored by your police agency. But as luck would have it, the agency I worked for decided to start a motor unit. They sent me up to Tallahassee, Florida to train with the highway patrol, the troopers, you know, the guys that never give you a break. Trooper stops you, you're getting a ticket, right? You got any state troopers here? No, good. I'm going to tell you why that is. A lot of people don't realize this. 10 years ago, all the state troopers in America went on a commission basis. They get to keep half the money from that ticket. These guys are knocking down $2-3 million a year. So the next time a trooper stops you, as he's writing that ticket, I want you to say, you're only giving me that ticket because you're on commission. They love when you say that. Oh, they'll laugh. They'll probably let you go. Anyway, I was the only deputy in this class with 15 troopers, and the very first day, they were standing at attention. I got in there with them. This guy pulls up on a brand new police bike. He says, anybody here know how to ride a motorcycle? I looked up and down the line. Nobody raised their hand, so I put my hand up. But as soon as I did, I knew I'd made a terrible mistake. I knew that because the trooper next to me said, you just made a terrible mistake. This guy got right in my face and he screamed at me. He said, you don't know nothing about riding a motorcycle, but you're going to know if you make it through this course. He was exactly right. I quickly found out that 20 years of experience I thought I had was really 1 year's experience repeated 20 times. I made the same mistakes over and over again, but when I finished that course, I knew how to ride. And I said, this has been a secret way too long. Everybody who rides a bike should know these techniques. Now I'm going to go over them kind of quick. We just have a few minutes together. But believe me, the DVD is extremely detailed. We're going to talk about low-speed handling because that's where everybody has a problem. Nobody has a problem balancing the bike at 60 miles an hour. Anybody here have a problem balancing the bike at 60? This guy back there with the beer. Yeah, I do, he said. Not when you're sober. But at low speeds, gravity wants to pull you down. So here's how we overcome gravity. Here's the first technique. At low speeds, you need to stay in the friction zone. That's the area of clutch travel between completely open and completely closed. If you stay in that gray area, your progress is so much smoother and easier. The second technique is the proper use of the rear brake. Put a little pressure on the rear brake, put some power to the rear wheel at the same time, and the bike can't fall over. Here's the third, the most important technique, because you use this at every speed. It's the proper use of your head and eyes. Wherever you turn your head and eyes, that's where the bike will go, because your hands naturally follow your eyes. And the easiest way to start putting these techniques together is to start with what's commonly called the slow race. And for training purposes, slow means about a quick walking pace. Now that's Victoria standing up there at the end of the parking lot, that little girl. What you want to do is focus on something about 5-6 feet above the ground. That'll keep your head and eyes up, because instinct says when you're riding slow to look at the ground. If you do that, you'll put a foot down, might even tip the bike over. So I'll focus on her face. Now she's right at the limit. She's 4'11", so I'm actually going to look a little bit higher than that, but most people are a little bit taller than her. So I'll focus on her face. Keeps my head and eyes up. I know I'm in that sweet spot of the friction zone if I can rev the motor without picking up speed. And again, you should be about a quick walking pace. You can have that person walk alongside the bike. Make sure you're at proper training speed. Right about here is perfect. Now on a good day, I get her up to about 10-12 miles an hour, but that's just to keep her in shape. It doesn't help me. In only 15 or 20 minutes, the average person figures out how much easier it is to control a motorcycle by staying in that friction zone and putting a little pressure on the rear brake. You can bring the bike to a stop without putting your feet down, whip it around, one smooth motion, there's nothing to it. Next thing you got to do is get over your fear of leaning the bike, because the bike turns so much easier by leaning. That's what it was designed to do, was turn and lean at the same time. Easiest way to get over that fear is have somebody stand in the center of a big parking lot, much bigger than what we have here. Focus on that person's face, and you begin circling around them and leaning the bike further and further each time. The reason I'll focus on her face, again, instinct will tell me when this bike starts to lean to look down. Don't do it. And never, never hit your front brake at low speeds. When the handlebars are turned, it'll pull you to the ground like a magnet. So I'll focus on it. Now, I know if you're going to try this with an old riding buddy of yours, you don't want to be looking at his face. He might look like that guy. Just tell him to wear a full face helmet. Tell him it's for safety's sake. He might believe you. But if you got a cute little girl there, you can look at her face all day long. Start with great big circles. Leaning the bike just a little bit. Each time you go around, you want to lean a little further, until eventually you get to where you can put the pegs of the floorboards right on the ground. When you hear that scraping sound, it means you reached the limit of the lean angle, not to go any further. But you got to find those lean limits at low speeds under controlled conditions. Never when rounding a turn at 50 or 60. And you'll be ready for the elusive U-turn on the side street. I want to see a show of hands right now. How many people are willing? This is for the skeptics. My wife has complete confidence in my abilities. She's not afraid to get on here. Keep in mind also, we got some single guys out there knowing these techniques. Not only do they make you a better, safer rider, but they have an extremely high CDI factor. That, of course, stands for chicks dig it. Because girls, you don't want to get on a bike with a guy who's duck walking and the handlebars are shaking, he's staring at the ground. Of course not. I'd question his masculinity. I'm telling you, he's dragging his feet. He's got a little sugar in his tank. Don't get on there. There we go. Head and eyes, switches on, a little bit of rear brake. Put that front tire here. I snap my head and eyes and look only where I want to go. And as you see, got plenty of room to spare. Nothing changes with two people on the bike. But I know, probably a couple of guys out there saying, you know, my wife really is kind of big bone. Your wife's pretty skinny. What happens if your wife weighs more than you and you got her on the back? What do you do then? Well, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to bring out Marianne Hamilton and her husband, Tim. Marianne's going to ride Tim on the back. Whoa, Tim, you're supposed to be riding on the back. Yeah, come on now. That's the point. I just showed him that. You'd like to see the guy on the back for a change, wouldn't you? Yeah. Come on, don't be insecure about your masculinity. Switch places quickly. Quickly now. You don't have much room here. People have places to go, people to see, and things to do. Now don't try that at home unless you use your father's bike. Little tiny 110. Hold on tight, Tim. That's for safety's sake that he's holding on like that. Stop laughing. I know what you're thinking. Safety. Alright, Marianne, by the way, is not a motor officer. She's a flight attendant. She learned these techniques from my video. Her and her husband practice them, and as you can see, they're pretty good. When I tell you, folks, the size and strength of the rider has no bearing on their abilities. Neither does the weight of the motorcycle. This is so easy, little girls can do it. Little itty bitty tiny girls. And I'm going to introduce you to one right now. Come on out here, Victoria. This is Victoria Pierce. She's 4'11", 16 years old. She's way too small for that bike. She can't reach the ground or even put the kickstand up by herself. She's so little. But it doesn't matter. She knows the techniques. It took us 2.5 hours to get her to the level you're going to see her at right now.
Oh, yeah. Leesburg Bikefest 2011. Everybody's looking good. I'm just going to tell you right now, the craziest after party spot tonight. As soon as Jekyll.
Give her a hand, folks. This little girl, 16 years old, will outride about 95% of you.
That's right. As soon as they're done, find yourself on in here at the Opera House Saloon, man. We're going to have a good time.
She whips that bike around in a U-turn. Actually, I know there's some guys thinking, I've been riding for 40 years, how come I can't do that? And it's because you're riding on instinct instead of technique. That's enough for her. Pull her bike up. Let Donna get on there.
We got something special for you, Leesburg, right here.
By the way,
the newest.
know which way I'm going to go, they don't care. All they got to do is follow along since they know the techniques. There's nothing to it. You in first gear there, kid? I'll come around and catch you up. Well, I'm behind you. Let's see how many bikes we can get out in this little space. Now we got Rob Cornelius. He's on the Victory. As is Tim, Victory Police Motorcycle. We got Ken on the Gold Wings, so the guys who ride Gold Wings can't say my bike won't do that. If the bike's got two wheels, the techniques work. Head and eyes, friction zone, a little bit of rear brain. It ain't brain surgery, folks. It's just technique.
We got Axe upstairs right now, AC, ice cold drinks.
Let's make a big circle up here. Can we fit all these bikes in a circle? I think we can. This is complete total control of the motorcycle. You can do this at 5 miles an hour. Believe me, 50 miles an hour is a walk in the park. Come on, I can't hear you. All right, you want to see it down here? Okay. All right.
Are you ready to sing for the crowd?
If you think riding a motorcycle is fun now, imagine if you actually knew what the hell you were doing. In 3 or 4 hours, you can do every maneuver you see us doing here. Granted, you won't be as smooth. That takes about 5 or 6 hours. But it will change your riding life forever, folks. We've got the video on sale here for 25 bucks. It's a step-by-step procedure. You can't screw it up. We also have Ride Like a Pro on the Tail of the Dragon. That shows you these techniques at high speeds, just 20 bucks. Our brand new release, Survive in the Mean Streets, only $20. Shows you all these techniques used out on the street.